Hi guys, good evening. So I'm online for this week's tarot reading. This is the fourth tarot reading I'm doing for this week. So I started when it was lockdown and I've been doing them once a week. And I have found that these tarot readings have been quite interesting and helpful to enable us to navigate the week ahead. So for those of you who don't know, I've been reading tarot for about 30 years now, if not more, and I have always used them to see what's going on in the unconscious and to kind of get an understanding of what's happening that's deeper. So we can understand what's happening on the conscious level, but sometimes it's very hard to understand what's happening and bubbling deeper underneath. So this is a way of kind of understanding what's happening at a deeper level to give us ideas and support to navigate and negotiate what's coming up for us this week ahead. So this is for the week 27th of April onto the 2nd of May. So we're already heading into May now, which is very exciting. And I know that things have been happening around the world. The lockdown's kind of lifting around Europe, so that's very exciting. And here we still have 2 more weeks left. So it's going to be interesting to see what this week brings. As you can see, I'm shuffling the cards. I always do this. This breaks the energy and just clears the cards from the readings that I've been doing yesterday. I did quite a lot of readings yesterday. And so we will start. So welcome everybody. I always cut the pack 3 times. This, I would say, mixes up the energy and also kind of breaks the energy or breaks any energy that might be still in the cards. So if you do read tarot, I do suggest putting it back in any order. So whichever order you feel like. And then picking a number from 1 to 9 if you don't see the person. So I'm getting a 5 today. So let's have a look and see what the cards are going to show us this week. So we'll pick the first card is the guidance card for the week, a card that we need to know, a message that we need to know for this week. So this is the first card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got compromise. And this is a very interesting card, compromise, because we are always faced with a compromise. And in many different levels, and the compromises that we're making for the collective is a compromise between our egos and our hearts. So again, we picked this card last week. When we choose the short-term pleasure of the ego, we often get the long-term pain of the heart. When we choose the long-term pleasure of the heart, we have to get the short-term pain of the ego. And many of us are choosing the short-term pleasure of the ego over our long-term pain of the heart. And we have been put in a very compromised situation through this lockdown, and it's how we're dealing with that compromise. Within that compromise that we're having to deal with, are we choosing from the short-term pleasure of the ego or the long-term pain of the heart, or are we choosing the long-term pleasure of the heart over the short-term pain of the ego? And once we see it like that, it becomes easier to make decisions, because this compromise, this big collective compromise, is bringing things up to the surface that we have to face. Are we making a compromise in our lives? Or have we compromised our jobs? Have we compromised our relationships? Are we in the right relationship? Are we in the right job? Are we doing the right thing? Because the reality is, when we compromise ourselves, no one around us is happy, because we're not happy. And we are constantly emanating energy. Whatever energy you're resonating, that's what you're putting out into the world. So if you're feeling miserable and a bit low and a bit depressed, then that energy is going to be emanating around you and touching everyone around you. And when we compromise, everyone is affected by that compromise. So this week, I just want you to check in and see where you might be compromising. Are you compromising in your relationships? Are you compromising in your work? Maybe you're not compromising at all. Maybe you've made the changes there where you're no longer compromising and you're doing exactly what you want, how you want it. So this card is all about looking at compromise. Now, sometimes we have to do a compromise the lockdown was a compromise in order not to spread the virus. So a lot of sometimes we have to make the compromise, but again, it's at what level, at what cost are we making that compromise? And this is a really powerful time to see at what cost are we making these compromises. And everyone will be different, both on a collective level and a personal level. So this week, just checking in, seeing where you're compromising, seeing where you maybe need to change something or move something. Right, let's pick a guidance card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's intensity. So the intensity card is about focusing your intention to where you want it to go. So rather than compromising, it's saying, what do I want? Where am I focusing my energy? What is the destination that I am looking for, that I want to create? Because we are co-creators of our reality. So what we focus on is what we're bringing to us. So this card of intensity is really saying, what is your intention? And focusing on that destination. So just like a captain of a ship is planning to go to America, it is focused on its destination, it's planned its destination, has everything ready for its destination, and then it has to rely on life to take it to it. It has to rely on all that energy to be focused on that point. So this week, rather than be aware of the compromise, it's also focusing on what you want to change and then setting your intention to make those changes. Let's pick another guidance card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Awareness. Now we can make those changes when we are self-aware. So it's really about now coming out of the shadows and really facing what your truth is. And we've been given a fantastic opportunity now, while we're in this state of limbo, to really dive deep and find out what is hidden in our shadows. So this week it's really about focusing on what your needs are, what would make you happy, where do you want to focus your intention, what do you want to bring into your life, and where you may be compromising too much that's not bringing happiness. So this week is all about looking at what we're needing in order to move forward, and moving away from compromise, focusing our intentions. And the more self-aware we are, the more we know what we want to bring into our lives. So maybe this week, if you don't know what you want, spending a bit of time in silence, in meditation, connecting to yourself, and just starting to work out what would make you happy. And that's the key. On Friday, we have the Beltane, which is the beginning of summer, and they lit fires all over the countryside, and they would make love all through the night. Couples would make love all through the night, and the maypole represents the unification of the male and female energies. So there's a lot of creativity, inspiration and passion this week, and fertility. So the more self-aware we are, the more we can tap into this passion and decide what we want to manifest. So the lesson that we're needing to learn this week is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maturity. So again, it's about recognizing from the awareness about growing up and making those choices, that knowing that we are adults and able to make mature decisions that can really help us bloom and grow. And that's really the card meaning of maturity. It's not what you're getting old. It's about how you're growing, how you're stepping into your power, how you're stepping up into being who you are. So real maturity is about being who you are. It's about really flowering. So maybe this week having a thought about how you could flower, how you could access this Beltane energy, this passion, how you can utilize it, and really take that fire, that inner fire, and make some changes, especially if you've been compromising. So the lesson, and also to acknowledge that if something isn't working, you don't have to stay in it. Also, I see always maturity is coming out of the victim mentality, because when we come out of the victim mentality, we actually realize that we can take personal responsibility for our lives, so, and stop blaming everybody and the people around us, and actually saying, okay, this isn't working, what do I need to do? So it's really about stepping up and making decisions that are going to serve you, rather than blaming everyone around you for making you unhappy. And this is a very powerful time when we really are in maturity. It's when we've stepped up and owning our shit and taking personal responsibility for who we are. So that's the lesson that we're really needing to learn this week. And a moving forward card for this week is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, understanding. So again, we're not caged. The cage is in our own minds. We can fly out of the cage. So this is a beautiful ending to the reading, or a beautiful final card for the reading, because we started off with compromise. And the compromise card is seeing where we are compromising and where we are not living our dreams or being true to ourselves. The next card was intensity, which is rather than compromise in order to make other people happy, but not making you happy, focus on what you want. Take the intensity of the intention and focus on it so that you can take all that energy and focus it on what you want to manifest. It's easier to do that when we're self-aware. So the clearer you know what you want, the more focused you are on what you want, the easier it is to go straight for that destination. So coming out of the shadows, stepping up into yourself, owning who you are, and actually putting out there what you want. And the maturity card is that card that says, all right, I'm ready now to take personal responsibility, to make those changes, and to do what's needing to be done in order to find happiness and stop blaming everybody and everyone around me. And the moving forward card is knowing we're not caged. We are able to fly out of the cage because the cage is of our own making, especially here in the West, where we have so many freedoms, so many privileges, so many amazing blessings in our lives. So recognizing where you have put your own cages, the cages in our minds, and Viktor Frankl was very clear about that. You know, wherever you are, if we're caged in our minds, we're free in our hearts and caged in our minds. So this is about opening up your heart and freeing yourself by making those difficult decisions. And again, like I said at the beginning, taking that long-term pleasure of the heart over the short-term pleasure of the ego. And taking that ego pain in order to reach that long-term pleasure. And this is the moment to start putting that in place, because once lockdown is over, we're not going to have that space and capacity to really go deep in and find out what we really want and who we are and what we want to manifest. So this is a really important moment now to make those decisions, start making those decisions. So once this is over, you're able to step forward knowing in which direction you want to take. And I always pick a last card. Well, the last card is always the one underneath. It's the unconscious card. It's the one that's fueling the collective in the unconscious. And this one is friendliness. And this week is for me, it's all about being friendly. You know, we share our roots and our nutrients like the trees, and we share the canopy, our passions, but we keep our trunks separate, and the space in the middle is where the air can breathe. So this week, if you have been feeling too crowded, too much on top of you, take some time out, hug a tree. It's the friendliness card. It's about finding some space so that you can get your own trunk strong and separated. So if you have been feeling a little bit enclosed, take that space, make sure that your trunk is strong, get yourself very, very strong and connected. And the friendliness card is also knowing where your boundaries lie this week. So if you've been given a lot and been offering a lot but not feeling you're getting as much back, take a step back. Remember to nourish yourself first, giving oxygen to yourself first before you give it to others. And taking that message this week specifically, if you are feeling like you need some time out from people, and if we don't, then we lose that friendliness, and we can get very frustrated and a bit bitter and a bit angry. So this is a real strong message that if you're starting to feel like that, take time out, take some time for yourself so that you can empty of anything you need and come back with more spare capacity to have that friendliness, to be able to give. So remember to put oxygen and yourself first before others. So that is the reading for this week. I think that is very apt. I'm going to download this video and put it onto YouTube. So if you want to have a look at all the videos that I've been doing over the last 4 or 5 weeks, then we can really see, I think it's the 5th week actually. You can start seeing the process and the journey that we've been on through the tarot. I do this every Sunday evening at 8 o'clock. So do join me next week if you've found it interesting. And on Tuesday, I'm doing a Facebook Live on my dark retreat and how that's helped me navigate this isolation. So looking forward to seeing you online again too, and wishing you all a wonderful week ahead. Remember to shine bright. The world needs your light. And if you missed any of this reading, then please do visit my YouTube channel, Rebecca Shaman, where it will be downloaded and you'll be able to watch it there again. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of the evening. Lots of love, and bye for now.